One, two. Perfect. There you go. Welcome, everyone. Meet Tina here on YouTube. How's everyone's doing? So anyway, today is going to be a very fun topic to talk about. Everyone's just looking for that twin flame, especially right now during ascension time. I mean, I get that asked a lot. When am I going to meet my twin flame? I mean, is it true that all of us are supposed to meet twin flames right now? How about that? Jakira, do you want to just show to the audience, share your perspective on twin flame? Jakira is going to be talking about soul relationship. All right. So I just think, you know what, this is going to be so cool to have Jakira to come on. She's also teach classes in soul relationship. So she can come on and talk about what's her perspective on twin flames, twin souls, or different kind of relationship. Soul relationship. How about that? All right, Jakira, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me here, Tina. I'm so grateful for you.
You're welcome. Well, welcome. Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
tell us more about this subject because it's a very popular subject, twin flame,
Yeah, it
and
really,
I
yeah,
don't know
go
if you heard also, like, some people even say that right now a lot of starseed or a lot of, spiritual being will be meeting their twin flame. And you know, that I mean, I think some do, but not everyone will, and it takes a lot for them to really work on themselves to really meet their counterpart. So let's hear it from you.
Yeah, I love that you're mentioning this aspect of the twin flame because one of the things that I've been receiving from spirit is that I was shown this specific pathway that we take as a soul. The twin flame experience, we're all in a twin flame experience, right? Like we're all in this ascension
Mhm.
path. And what happens is that we're all in different stages of that ascension path, right? And so the interesting thing about this whole experience is that depending on where we are is how we know if we're going to meet our twin flame or not. So there's basically four paths that I know about so far that we take as souls that are related to the twin flame. Okay, so the first path is the karmic. So the karmic is basically when you are fully in this awareness that actually fully in lack of awareness, and you're not necessarily understanding that you are in a karmic pathway. You know things are kind of more on a reactive state. There's really not that much of an awareness, and so you're basically fully in that karmic path, right? So that's the stage I would say that that's stage one, right? Like the path number one.
Mm.
Then as we evolve, right, in our pathway, and we learn lessons, and we incarnate, we reincarnate, we go through all of these experiences as a soul, we start realizing, okay, I am ready for the next step. The next
Mm.
step would be karmic. It's still karmic, but you start connecting to your healing journey. So you start actually seeking those things that are going to help you heal those things within yourself. So you start looking in the mirror and start questioning, well, why is it that I am acting this way, or why is it that this is happening? And I'm seeing these patterns in my life. So if you're going through that process, then you're definitely on that, most likely on that karmic healing journey, right? So
Mm.
that would be the second stage, right? So that there's the karmic, then karmic healing. Then the third stage of this would be your karmic healing, but you're going towards union, and that's where a lot of people in this stage will most likely meet their twin flame, and the separation can happen there. So you can experience that separation at that moment. And so just because you met your twin flame, it doesn't mean that you end up in union on that lifetime. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is that, first of all, you can be in a lifetime where you don't even meet a twin flame, right? Which would be the stage one and two. But then you have path three, where you're basically you could potentially meet your twin flame. However, you could potentially be going towards union, and potentially be in union if both people do the work, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not just one person that does the work. Both people have to do the work, because everyone is their own soul. Everyone is their own. It's going through their own experience, and that's what we
Mhm.
have to remember. And then you have the fourth stage, which would be union. And that stage, you could potentially be, you already met your twin flame and you're both working towards really feeling, being that embodiment of oneness in the relationship, right? That's what the idea of the twin flame union is about. The message that I've been getting from spirit is that is a very low, actually, the people who get to be in union on this planet is very low.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's so powerful when twin flames come together that it can shift energies forward. It can actually shift energies forward. Like it could literally help us shift timelines as Earth, as a collective, which is really
Mm-hmm.
powerful. This is the reason why it's not this path is not the path of the faint of you really cannot say that you want a twin flame, that you want this experience and not go through the process of really doing that shadow work. You
Mm-hmm.
have to do, like, you have to do the shadow work, you have to do the healing, you have to go through the process of trusting your intuition. And then the other thing that I want to really invite your audience to realize is that everyone is going to have a very unique experience. Your experience with your twin flame doesn't have to look exactly like the person next to you, right? There's not like one size fits all when it comes down to your unique
Mm-hmm.
relationship with your twin flame. So that's where when we really look at it from the perspective of looking at it in these stages and looking at it from that higher perspective, we can see that depending on where we are as a soul in the path of healing, in the path of releasing karma, that's where we can find ourselves either connecting to our twin flame or not. However, I just kind of wanted to mention also that just because you're not connecting to your twin flame on this lifetime, let's say you don't meet your twin flame on this lifetime, it doesn't mean that there's not a connection, an etheric connection with that soul. There's always that connection. At the akasha, what is shown is that the basically the souls which are complete, each souls are complete. They're not half and half. That's a myth. It's two souls that are twins. That's why it's
Mm-hmm.
called twin. They're
Mm-hmm.
twins, right? They're part of this. They're so close together that they basically are like twins. There's a lot of mirroring that's happening there. But just because your twin is just because you have a twin doesn't mean that you always are both going to be incarnated at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's another aspect that can happen too. Your twin flame can quite literally be one of your guides,
Mm-hmm.
helping you in your journey, because you may be in that karmic path, or you may be in that karmic and healing path, and it may not help you to have the twin flame energy in that lifetime. Because think
Mm-hmm.
about it. Think about what happens when you meet a twin flame. There's a lot of magnetism that happens. There's a lot of, it's intense,
Mm-hmm.
and if you as a soul are not ready for that intensity, right? Then it may be a little, it may, especially if your souls decide that it's not for your highest good for both of you to be incarnated, then one of you will stay in the ethers, right? Helping the other. That's how beautiful this is. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful relationship that
Right.
happens there at the soul level. Um, and so that's the perspective that I have in regards to, if you're gonna meet your twin flame, if you have that question, the best thing that you can do is to start, seeking for, first of all, finding out in what stage you are. That will give you better clarity. And then in another thing that I want to say here is, just because you're on stage 1 or 2, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Not at all. It's just
Mm-hmm.
part of, think about it this way. If you're going from point A to point B, you're at home and you're going to the store,
Mm-hmm.
and you put the address in the GPS, right? And then you start taking your car from your home, and you start taking, street A and then street B. Are you going to be questioning why you're on street B? No. You just continue going forward until you get to your destination. That's really what it's about. Of course, it takes longer than it can take lifetimes.
Many lifetimes,
Right,
maybe.
many lifetimes,
Right.
but it's a long journey, so it's about enjoying the journey and savoring everything and just allowing ourselves to open our hearts and our minds to that. So, but one thing that I wanted to mention too is that our twin flame is it's a soul relationship, right? So when we are looking at our relationship, so let's put that aside. Let's think about for a minute about our relationships. Let's say, we have, let's say you're born into a family, you have mom and dad, and then you also have cousins, you have uncles and aunts and cousins, and there's kind of like a category, right, that happens here on earth in regards to the type of relationships that we have with our loved ones, right? So
Mhm.
just like that, also in the ethers we have something called soul relationships, okay? So they're not exactly like the ones that we see here on this planet, but I'm kind of using that analogy so you to help you understand the level of closeness that you have with the soul.
Mhm.
Okay, so when we go to the beginning at the soul creation, and I'm talking here, here we're zooming all the way out. Okay, we're zooming all the way out, looking at bird's view perspective at this moment. When we look at the soul at one point is coming from oneness. We all come from oneness. We're all part
Exactly.
of one, right?
Mhm.
But in order for us to experience what we experience now here on this planet, we have to experience something called duality. There's a sense, there's a feeling of separation. It's almost like a program that's implanted by the universe for us to be able to experience that duality, that separation, even though that separation is not real, it's an illusion. But that illusion of separation is basically placed for us at the soul level. So then there's all these souls, right, that are created. And think about it, the universe likes to keep things very organized, right? If you think about it, there's a certain order in the universe, and how
Mhm.
everything kind of just gets categorized at if you look at in nature, everything is kind of categorized, and has a process, and even if when we look at our the way how we organize ourselves as humans, or even the stages of our experience here as humans, right? We go from being born to becoming children, and then teenagers, and then adults, and then all of it, everything has an order, right?
Exactly. Mhm.
So when we look at that, it's very, it's important to also recognize that that's also happening in the ethers. There's this level of organization that's happening up there, you know and what happens is that all of these souls are being created, right? There's a creation, there's a moment of creation of the soul. And at that moment of creation of the soul, that soul is going to be categorized in some place, right? And there's
Mhm.
going to be what we call soul families that are
Mhm.
going to be created. So just like you're born in a family, that the same thing happens at the soul level.
Right.
Now, the only difference is that we don't really have a mom or dad, because we're coming from oneness. So we ourselves are created little oneness, right? We're
Mhm.
created from the big oneness. But
Mhm.
all of these souls are being categorized depending on the energetic blueprint that each soul has. Okay. So each soul is going to have an energetic blueprint. So think about it as your fingerprint. You're going to have a certain energetic blueprint that is going to determine, where you belong at the soul level. So that's what we call soul families. So when you go through this journey as a soul, you're going to be placed in a certain category, and within that category there are going to be subcategories. Okay, so let's think about, there's going to be this family, and within that family there's going to be roles that each soul are going to play in our experience, kind of like families, right? We have
Right.
mom and dad, like I was mentioning. So I'm going to invite you to take a look in your mind's eye. I'm going to invite you to, in your mind's eye, just to think about just a room. Think about a room that is full of crates, different boxes. Within these boxes, there's a bunch of um, bouquets of flowers. Okay, there's a bunch of bouquet of flowers, and within that bouquet, there's going to be different flowers, right? You're going to have different
Mhm.
flowers, and each flower is going to have a petal. So think about like daisies. Let's just think of daisies, right? You
Mhm.
have the daisies, and every daisy is going to have petals, right? So think about it this way. Imagine your soul being placed in one of those petals inside the inside of one of those daisies that exist.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you're looking at the entire room, you're looking at an oversoul. You're looking at an entire oversoul. You're looking at a group of souls that are together in that one room, right? But within that big room, you have those subcategories of these crates, right? These boxes that have a bunch of different bouquets. And within those bouquets, you're going to have a bunch of flowers. So let me just tell you that, I mean, this is how vast, right, our soul relationships are.
Right.
So what I like to call those who are in the oversoul, those who are in the big category, those are not going to be, depending if they're not inside, if they're not inside the same crate, let's say inside the same crate, they're not going to be as close to us, right? So we're not going to really categorize those as flames because they're not going to be as close. There's not that level of closeness. Doesn't mean that we don't love them, doesn't mean that we don't have that soul relationship. It just means that the level of closeness is a little, it's a little further out. Now, when we go into let's say we zoom into the crate where we're at, and we zoom into that petal that we're in, then there's going to be another soul in there. Actually, there can be more. We can actually have more than one twin flame. And this is something that is not talked about, but you
That's
can.
funny. I agree with that. I was just telling some of my students about that, and we have more than one twin.
Yeah.
So that's funny you brought this up. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, you can have more than twin flame, and people think, oh my gosh, like I only have one. No, my love, you have more than one. The difference is that not all of them will be incarnated at the same time. There could be, possibilities are endless in your experience. Options are available, right? All these different options are available. So within that petal, you're going to have several souls that are there. What I've learned so far, what I know, what I've received, what I've learned through my experience with spiritual response therapy and just doing the clearings that I do for my clients, you can have up to 9 souls in that petal. Okay. Now, you don't always have to have 9. There could be less. There could be 1. So you could be your own flame, or there could be up to 9. So what happens is, so this is the interesting thing about this, is that with this, you also have other petals. Remember, we remember the flower analogy. You have other petals around you. So who are these souls? Those are flames. But instead of being twins, because the twins are inside that petal, they're going to be your siblings, right? Your flame siblings. Let's just talk, say. Those relationships they're a pivotal experience in our lives as well. There's going to be, actually, I've had clients that confuse their relationships with their twin. They think that the person that they have in their lives is their twin flame. And when I go in and I check their records, it's actually a flame sibling. So that's the interesting thing about that, is that, you have this flame sibling in here. You think that it's your twin flame, but guess what? It's not. That's the reason why it's important that we get clarification, and the interesting thing about the closer you are to the soul, right? If they're a twin flame or there's a flame sibling, you're going to have a lot of how do I say this? Incarnations, right? A lot of incarnations, a lot of lifetimes with these souls for both the twin flame and the flame sibling. You're gonna have so that's the reason why sometimes it can get a little, and confused.
Yeah.
So what happens is, it's important that we recognize this. Why is it important? And remember when I was talking about the path, you have your path, the karmic and healing. When you get to the karmic and healing, you may start attracting those flames that may not be necessarily a twin flame, but you start attracting those flames. And the reason why these flames are important is because they help us clear karmic crap that we don't need as we prepare to connect to our twin flame, right? So they really do help us. That's when we start attracting those beautiful souls that we just feel in our hearts, so connected. We almost like we've known them forever. We've known them forever. And yes, we do. We quite literally do, because we've had so many lifetimes with them. But outside of that, remember, you're still in a flower. We're still talking about one flower, right? And you also have a bouquet. And within that bouquet, you're going to have other flowers, but that bouquet is bunched up into that one. So that energetically is that there's an energetic connection there, right? Within that bouquet.
Right.
And that's still a very close relationship. And that's when I call those the flame cousins, right?
Mhm.
So they're and
So
they're gonna
lady
be
is a family.
yeah. So there's gonna be the first. It's gonna be not your. They're not gonna be the distant cousins. These are gonna be like your first cousins, right? So
Hmm.
those who are kind of like very close, but not as close as a sibling or not as close as a twin, right? So they're gonna be. They're still close though, and there's still gonna be a lot of healing that you have to do with these flames. So these three categories are basically some of the most important relationships that of course we talk about. Of course we focus a lot on the twin flame, but the twin flame is not the only important relationship that we want to focus on. We
Hmm.
want to also work towards healing the relationships with our flame cousins and our flame siblings, because by doing that we're paving the way of healing forward in our ascension. They're also as pivotal and as important in our ascension process.
Hmm.
So, and the reason why I say this is because right now, I can tell you right now in my life, I'm actually on the third path. My twin flame is not incarnated. He's not planning to incarnate, but my twin flame is actually one of my guides. Okay, and that's how my twin flame helps me. It's through connection to through the guides. And but a lot of so my husband is my flame sibling. So
Hmm.
guess what? So at that point right now what I'm doing is healing a lot of stuff in this pathway. So eventually in the future, right, whenever that is, I'm not really attached to it, but whenever that is in other lifetimes, then I can continue towards union, and then hopefully experience that union with my twin flame here on this earth, which is of course that's what the experience is to experience the union that we are already experiencing in the ethers. That's
Hmm.
important. We're already always experiencing that union in the ethers, but the idea is to experience that here on this earth, right? That's the whole purpose of both of us coming together, right, on this lifetime. So with that said, then we have outside, let's say outside of our box, then we have the other soul. I like to call them soulmates. Everyone
Hmm.
and I are soulmates. Everyone is soulmate. I feel like
Right.
everyone is my soulmate.
Right.
And so when we start seeing ourselves from that perspective, well, first of all, we can start really practicing compassion towards others, towards ourselves, and start seeing the purpose of those relationships with our loved ones. That's one of the things that I teach in my class too, is I teach people to go through understanding per person that they want to ask about, what is the sole purpose of this person in your life? There is a purpose of them being in your life. What is that purpose? So that
Hmm.
you can find a level of understanding that is deeper than just the drama that shows up, because sometimes we get caught up in the drama, we get caught up in the karmic stuff, and we can't see beyond that because it's just the karmic things can get a little overwhelming. I mean, it's heavy energy. Sometimes there can be contracts, there can be there can be curses, there could be so many energies that can be entangled and creating so much havoc between you and your loved one, or not so loved one, because that could be too. I can Let me tell you something that happened to me, and I'm going to share this with you. So
Yeah.
I had this experience. I want to say a couple months ago. I met this woman. I've never met her before, and I just felt this immediate rejection towards her.
Yeah.
Was the craziest thing. I was like, why am I? And remember, I'm in this path of doing this work, so of course I question everything. So I'm like, why am I feeling this? Like I don't know this person. I've never talked to her. I never. So something told me. Of course, that was my twin flame in the ethers. It's like check your records. So I did. So I checked. I open up, and I found programs between her and I, where I actually heard her, and then she heard me, and there was like all this stuff that happened in other lifetimes. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let me clear this stuff. So I
Yeah.
cleared that, and then I was able to really recognize, oh wow, like there is stuff, that sometimes we just feel whatever, we were reacting to whatever, but we
Hmm.
don't realize that what we're reacting to is our energies from other lifetimes that are affecting us now.
Right.
So I hope that kind of explains a little bit of
Well, I'm
of
sure that happened to many people,
experience.
on this earth too.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have very similar experience, of course. Not knowing someone, but there is this kind of, the feeling, that's very strong towards someone. Of course, that happened. I'm sure that happened to everyone. And
Yeah,
you don't know why.
and you don't know why. Like sometimes I'll wake up and I'm like, I just can't stand my husband. Like why can't I stand him? Like we just had a good day yesterday.
Hmm.
And then excuse me, I just had water and then went the other way. But it's just one of those things where, when you start seeing beyond your emotional body and you start seeing beyond that and not get caught up in the emotional body and just start using your emotional body as your tool.
Hmm.
Right? Your emotions are telling you things. They're there. That's the reason why it's so important for us to not first of all not repress our emotions, but actually listen to our emotions and feel our emotions and get into that conversation with ourselves, because when we do that, we're able to really see beyond the experience. And I understand, I do have, like everyone, I'm sure you and other people here, watching this, you may be experiencing a difficult relationship with a loved one, or and there could be some karmic things that are related to that. But at the same time, it's recognizing, even if it's ongoing and even as an issue because the other person is not willing to change their ways, but at least it gives you that mirror to know if it's still triggering you. There's still a little bit of work still within ourselves that we need to do. That is what relationships are about.
Right.
It's just seeing the trigger, and and it's easier said than done sometimes. Okay, I know it's easier said than done for a lot of us, because we're like, we can get into the reactive place. Our ego is always very active, very,
Absolutely.
so it's very easy for us to get caught up in it. But the idea is for us to be able to see the mirror, right, of what's happening in front of us, and then say, you know what, I'm feeling this way, but where is this coming from? Why is this rubbing me the wrong way? Why is this person's, X, Y, and C, conversation rubbing me this way? And why am I feeling triggered? And then kind of
Yeah.
going back and using that. So that's what the purpose of those beautiful flames are for our lives too. Just I can tell you, my mother-in-law is one of my flames too. She's a flame cousin, right? And we have a difficult relationship. It's like very typical, right? Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship.
The in-laws.
The in-law thing,
The
it's always
in-law
like,
story.
yeah, it's like there's always that story. However, there's so as I've come to realize, and as I come to go through this, of course it's a beautiful mirror for me, and it's a beautiful teaching experience for me to continue to do the work within, because we're always doing the work, right? We've talked about this before. We're
Yeah.
always doing the work. I mean, the day that we die is probably the day that we stop doing the work. But but the interesting thing about this though is that when we look ourselves in that mirror of that expression of a relationship not being peaceful, we can see, okay, well, where is this coming from? And then I've been able to shift things towards a positive way for me, while seeing the experiences and seeing from other lifetimes, and seeing the reason why things are the way they are now, and understanding the karmic consequences of past lives that are showing up on this lifetime. Then I'm able to really just kind of go back to that whenever I feel that tension, energetically or emotionally. After I go through my process, I can go back and remind myself, this is the reason why, this is because of this is what's happening, right? And then I can do my part. If there's something that I need to clear within myself, I can do that, so then I don't feel that heaviness in my heart, and I can continue to keep my heart open, regardless of how the other person is reacting or not. And that applies forever, including your twin flame, right? Like all relationships, right? Because everyone is going to have their own path. Everyone is gonna be in a different stage. Everyone's gonna be in a different, let's say, location. Let's say in the map. right, of making it to the store, like I was mentioning earlier, going from your home to the store. Everyone's going to
Right.
be in a different stage, in a different perspective. So, honoring that sacred experience that each one of us are having. And I think that, bringing ourselves into that understanding, and trying to find out what is your soul relationship with those around you, really can shift so much for you. It can
Mhm.
just it's a just it has changed my life. It really has.
As before, the thing is because you have always been on this path of looking at your mirrors through other people. That's why you have grown so much and really realize, and you can actually see clearly who's your twin flames, you see. But there's a lot of people out there who still haven't not worked on themselves and even see the mirrors from there, see what triggers them, through the mirrors. But they are already thinking or assuming the person they're with is their twin flame and
Yeah.
is a trouble relationship. And I've seen that a lot. And I think there's a lot of misconception of twin flame quite a bit. Is that attraction or whatever, but they're having a very difficult relationship. They're not at all really working on themselves. And this is what kind of the audience, that are going through that should realize that, to have a twin flame, you really have to work on your own mirrors first, work
Yes.
on yourself first. Otherwise you won't be able to, like what you said, handle that energy,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it's too
well,
strong between the,
too strong.
the twins. And so, this is something that people should learn to see themselves first, work on themselves first. And I like the fact that you always bringing up about check out yourself, what their triggers in you, what have you grown, and you say you have grown so much throughout this relationship, so it doesn't really matter, which souls that you have come across with, as long as you have learned something from them and you have grown, you know and you're right about that. I mean, not everyone will be meeting their twin flames at
Yeah.
all. And I noticed the twin flames, I feel the twins, they both should be working at the
Yes.
same time
Yes,
in this
absolutely.
lifetime,
Absolutely.
and they're at the level that's kind of, they can be
That is helping
slightly,
each other. Yeah.
exactly.
And the interesting thing about it, though, is that sometimes in the journey, like I was mentioning, you're going to have, like I was mentioning the pathway, so that's the reason why it's important to recognize, for those of you who are watching this and you're wondering, where am I, you want to start really looking at yourself, start looking at yourself, and start questioning, am I really on the path of union right now, or am I still, do I still have some karmic stuff that I need to work through in my life at this moment, and being honest with yourself, because the thing is that when we are honest with ourselves, we are quite literally helping ourselves in such beautiful ways when we do that.
Hmm.
We don't want to lie to ourselves, because at the end of the day, then we're not able to really move forward, and then we're stuck in these patterns that are painful for us, right? So even though it feels more difficult to look at ourselves in the mirror, really that's the easiest thing, because then, when you have that level of understanding of where you're at, and you're brave to learn how to find out where you're at, or
Hmm.
like with, like, for example, with my students, it is an act of bravery to find out exactly where you're at, even
Right.
doing spiritual response, when people come to me and we do clearings, it's an act of bravery, because the reality is that we are both the light and the dark in different experiences on other lifetimes, and being able to see our soul fully, in all honesty, and say, you know what, yeah, there is, I've inflicted pain in others, and really being honest with ourselves, and
Hmm.
recognizing that we have done that, and then we also have received the pain, and that there could be karmic ties, or karmic contracts between us and other people because of those experiences that we had in other lifetimes. It's an act of bravery. But I can tell you that once you go through that process of understanding yourself, of learning this stuff about yourself, you come out of the on the other side feeling so much lighter,
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not carrying that stuff anymore with you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, you've
Exactly.
integrated the stuff. You know, you've been able to integrate. You've been able to really learn this lesson, and then allow your soul to rest from that karmic cycle, and break that cycle so that you can continue and, you know, probably, you know, move on to a different stage that you have to clear. But you know, that's the beauty of it. Like, you're no longer carrying this stuff, so it's a little easier. It gets a little easier when you go through the process. And that's what the purpose of this experience is about ascension. And ascension is not just, you know, oh, I made it here. There's really, it's really all about coming together as humans, as a human collective, so that we can live on a higher vibration. Doesn't mean that we're gonna stop being in the 3D. We're still here incarnated, but we're
Mm-hmm.
able to really be that vessel of the 5D and beyond, right up there. We're able to be that vessel and be able to alchemize a lot faster the energies and the experiences, and also our emotions. So then we understand a lot faster what's happening, and we're able to transmute a lot faster. We're able to alchemize a lot faster. So we're
Mm-hmm.
not stuck in these karmic cycles over and over again. Because that's the
Exactly.
idea, not have to come back and do the karmic cycle again. First grade.
We're not meant to come back and do, pay back all these karmic debts, that's that's
Yeah.
that's the that's the trick, that they want you to be going around and around and around doing all this stuff, you know.
Yeah. And you
And we're
know,
not meant to be here just to suffer on every lifetime, you know.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to remind you. You know, if you know, if you're watching this and you come from an experience where you've been taught that, suffering is the pathway to heaven, I'm here to tell you that's not what spirit wants for us. That's not what God
No,
wants for us,
that's a
you know?
program. That's a
Yeah,
program, many
that's a pro.
lifetime. Yes, yes. I have realized that, and just, you know, once I recognize that, I'm like, oh my God, we have been programmed for so long to believe in that coming back and pay the karmic debt over and over and over again. We'll never get out of this matrix. But
Exactly.
anyway, so speak of the twin soul relationship. I want you to tell the audience, what do you teach in this program, because this is what you
Yeah.
specialize in, because you mentioned that you teach, and I'm sure a lot of people who watch this show, I know many of them are really into the twin flame, twin souls, uh, 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 seeking that relationship, I have come across, and they should come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you know, and this is it's a class, it's a workshop. And you know, I'm part of the Evolve Me community, so I am using their platform to teach this class, and it's going to be a live class. And the reason why it's live is because I want my students to be able to ask questions. Going to be very practical. And we're going to be doing so we're going to be doing different things, such as learning how to connect to the pendulum. So you're going to learn how to connect to the pendulum. I have a set of charts. So there's a chart system I created to help you navigate and find out information about your twin flame, or also about your soul relationships. And basically what we do, we're going to be opening our records. So I'm going to teach you how to open your records and connect to your higher self. And I'm going to teach you how to make sure that you're fully connected and that there's no interferences. So this is for those of you who really like that structure, who want to feel, grounded, who want to feel like you're getting the answers black and white, that there's no there's no room for error, let's just say. Not that there's ever any error, but that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
If you want to feel that, if you want to satisfy that part of you, right, that feels like wants to get that black and white answer, right? That's gonna be perfect for you if you're seeking something like that. The reason why I am teaching in this is because, as you know, I'm a spiritual response therapy practitioner, and through this experience, I've also, I've been getting downloads from spirit about how this is so needed for people to learn, Just like it has helped me in my own path of understanding my relationships with my mother, with my father, understanding my relationships with my now husband, with my mother-in-law. It's brought so much peace within myself to be able to understand what's my soul relationship with them. What is the purpose of that relationship with them? What are the karmic entanglements that exist? Is there an additional healing that I need? What type of healing do I need? All of these different things are
Mhm.
going to be basically able to be shown to you through the chart system I created. So, which is really beautiful. Some of the things I'm going to teach you, you're also going to be able to clear energies between you and your loved ones as well. And then if you need any additional support, the chart system will let you know, hey, you need additional, you need to do some, past life regression, or maybe you need SRT, or maybe you need Reiki or something. The chart system will let you know if you need additional healing that goes beyond the system that I created. So that's really great. But at least you have that ability to clear this stuff between you and your twin flame. And also you get to really confirm if someone is your twin flame or not. And if they're
Mhm.
not, you get to confirm what type of relationship it is, what was the karmic, reason why they're here in your life. And and kind of, I feel like it brings a sense of closure for a lot of us. Like, at least for me, it just brings that sense of closure, and that sense of empowerment as well. It's like, oh, I can find out this information, because let me tell you what, your soul records are yours. Okay, you have the divine right to access your records.
Mhm.
Period. That's all yours for you to access. So that's the beauty about this, is that we get to learn how to access the records. We get to learn how to connect to our higher self, how to make sure that we're connected. We get to clear energies between us and our higher self. We get to also on the class, we're gonna have a live SRT clearing in case you have any issues connecting to the pendulum, because that can happen. Because you got to remember, we come from lifetimes where we could have gotten, hung or burned, and all that stuff. Um,
Right.
I'm definitely, that's going to be part of the program. We're going to do
Can you tell the audience what SRT, just in case some of the audience may
yeah,
not know?
yeah. So spiritual response therapy is it's a system. It's also a chart system that was created back in the 80s, and it allows me to access the records, and I clear programs, I clear energetic noise, let's just say. And basically I kind of rearrange certain things, like if there's anything that is out of balance, if I go kind of like more in the etheric world, let's just say in the akasha. And if there's any energies that are disconnected or maybe out of balance, we go in there and we clear, and then we also reconnect, and we try to bring everything back into homeostasis energetically for you, right? So that's the
Perfect.
whole idea. And the programs basically are experiences that you had, whether on this lifetime or other lifetimes, parallel universes, different dimensions, that we can access all of that with SRT. And then we're able to clear those programs, and then you feel this sense of like relief right afterwards. So it's really great. It's a very powerful system, that eventually I hope I can teach. But if anyone is interested, they can go through the SRA and learn more about SRT there. But what I'm teaching is not going to be SRT. It's going to be something that I created, inspired by SRT, of course, but it's not SRT. It's a different modality that I channeled specifically
Right. Right.
for
Your
this.
modality.
Yes,
Perfect.
personality, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's more focused on soul relationships. And but the interesting thing about this is that, for the 5-week program, we're going to do a clearing, a group clearing. Then we're going to have also a class where we're going to have 2 classes where we're going to be learning a lot. So some of the things that I mentioned here, we're going to be learning there, and then there's going to be Q&A, so you're going to be able to ask all the questions, right? Everyone's going to be able to ask the questions. So we'll go through that process of
Mhm.
learning, the soul creation. We're going to be learning about, soul relationships, the categories, the different types of paths and what happened in each path. And then we're also going to be learning the chart system, because of course I have to teach you the chart system. And then there's going to be a class where it's going to be basically practical. Like, I'm going to give you, you're going to have to make a list of different people you want to practice with, and we're gonna give you a time for you to practice, and then you'll be able, because that's when you're able to ask questions. When you start doing it, that's when the questions are going to come up, right? That's usually how it is.
That's right, exactly. By through practice only,
Yeah,
by
this is the
personal
best.
experience. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to practice. Like I can teach you all I want, but you have to practice, experience it yourself. So then once we go through the practice and the fifth week, we're gonna be basically doing a soul relationship clearing, or soul family clearing for everyone. So it's gonna be it's gonna be an SRT clearing. And the reason why is because I wanna make sure that and it's gonna be a collective clearing for both. I want to make sure that I am supporting you in whichever way I can so that you can be successful using the charts as possible. So you'll still receive some SRT. It's just going to be more of a collective healing versus a one-on-one session. But it's still very powerful. It's still needed. Collective healing is just as important as one-on-one healing. So that you can really connect to your charts and all that good stuff. So, again, you get to learn how to determine what soul relationship you have with a loved one or not so loved one. You get to determine why they're even in your life. And then you also get to learn if there's anything that needs to be cleared, you get to clear it. And then if you need to apply healing, if you can apply healing on your own, or what actions you need to take for healing moving forward. So it's really cool. Really cool little,
Perfect.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, how do we connect with you? You're gonna send me information so the audience can actually, connect with. You have your own YouTube channel too, correct?
So people can connect with me through. So I have Instagram, the Blooming Lotus Healing, and my YouTube channel, the Blooming Lotus Healing, and then my website too, the bloominglotushealing.com.
All in one name.
The Blooming Lotus Healing.
Easy. You cannot miss that. The bloominglotus.com.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
blooming.
Look
Yeah,
up
the
on her
bloom.
YouTube. I'm gonna put her information underneath the
Yeah,
description too below this video. So you guys want to connect with Jakira, or you want to get reading, you want to access your Karmic record, or you want to take classes with her with soul relationship, by all means, get her information under the description. You gotta have to send me all your information, Jakira.
yeah,
Your
and then
website, your YouTube, and everything.
and then one thing I wanted to before we leave, I just wanted to tell you something.
Mhm.
I've had people ask me, well, can you switch can you switch soul families? And I'm here to tell you you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
It's
But
a
that
good question too.
it's
Yeah.
not up to you. It's not up to you.
Hmm.
Here on this lifetime, like this on the ego that you're on, it's not up
Yeah.
to you. It's up to your soul. Your soul at the soul level will make that decision,
Hmm.
that decision of shifting. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I actually have a former twin flame incarnated on this lifetime that I needed to clear programs and do some healing on this lifetime to be able to move forward in my path. So the beautiful thing about it, guess what? This person is still in my life, but we went through a lot for 7 years. We were going through that push and pull for 7 years, push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. I did not know at the time exactly if he was my twin flame or not. Finally, I come to find out that he was my former twin flame. But however, we were meant to connect so we could clear things between each other. So then I just kind of want to leave you with that. So that's why I just want people to really start seeing things from beyond the romanticizing of the twin flame. Beyond that, just really try to see it from that beautiful space of
I
it's a relationship, it's a
when you
soul.
talk about romance side, it really, really rings a bell because I just feel like people focusing so much on the romantic side with the twin flame aspect, but I think also the twin flame will teach you a lot, each other a lot with the compassion, more like unconditional love aspect,
Yeah.
because we still carry a lot of ego in this three-dimensional, world. And I mean, the unconditional love is one of the hardest lesson to learn, or
Yes.
or to really practice, and I think that's that's the biggest lesson for all of us too, with the twin flame. So that's gonna be hard for a lot of people to handle with that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
Mhm.
it is. I think it's difficult to kind of get away from the I guess from the rhetoric that's been out there so far.
Yeah.
And I know that my perspective might not be very popular for a lot of people. But the idea here is to really open the eyes to a bigger experience, to a grander experience, because
Mhm,
your soul is so much grander than what, I mean, we don't even, I don't think we even realize how much more grander our soul is. And you know, because we're here incarnated here in this experience, we can't even see how much more our soul is experiencing at the same time right now,
mhm,
and how much we're experiencing alongside with our soul family that is affecting us right now in real time, because they're, you know, because that can happen. And that's the reason why sometimes we have those all of the sudden situations where we have conflict with those loved, with our loved ones or our soul family,
mhm,
because we are having all these other energies that are also playing a part, that are outside of this incarnation. So when we start seeing things from that bird's eyes view,
mhm.
that's when we start, that's when we start shifting from that suffering, that victim, into a more understanding, more wisdom, more compassion for ourselves and for others, and more love, you know, that, like you said, like that unconditional love.
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Wow, wow. That's a lot of information that you guys getting from Jakira. It's fascinating, Jakira. Thank you so much, for being here and sharing, with the audience here with, your wisdom and wealth of knowledge. And guys, again, remember, Jakira, she does teach soul family, soul relationship. Take classes with her if you wanted to heal and you wanted to learn more about, twin souls, twin flame, sort of that stuff. And also she does reading. She's fascinating and she's very good because I was on here live before with her doing a live reading and she was one of the populars here. The
Yeah.
audience loves you. The audience loves you, Jakira. So, but we're gonna come back with the live reading again. I don't think I mentioned to the audience that I'm still not allowed to do live because I my video got shut down and not until I start reapply again in February, and then be accepted to be monetized in order for me to do live interview. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
because
look
some of
forward
the
to
some of the
that.
interview that I did, I happened to be saying certain words that is not allowed, and I wasn't going to pay that much attention to that, so it got suspended. Yeah,
Oh,
but yeah, but luckily they still allow me to upload videos and do this. So I'm glad that I'm back doing that because some of the audience say, "Oh my God, you're back." I go, yeah, slowly. So, well, Jakira, thank you so much. I know you have to go, you have to do something, and I really want to thank you for being here. Let's connect again. And once I'm able to get the live video, we'll have Shakira come back to do a live sample reading for the audience because she's really good. I really enjoy her reading. Shakira, until next time, thank
thank you
you
so
so
much.
much. And guys, thank you so much. Do not forget to share. Click like on this video if you enjoy it. Share this video. So, tell people about Jakira. Anyone who got relationship problem or question about twin flames, soulmates, or got problem with a relationship, come to her. There's a lot of people you can send them to her and help them. All right, Shakira, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Until the next video. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Jakira.